Your check engine light just lit up and you're wondering if it's something small like a loose cap or a big repair that's going to cost you hundreds? Stick around because I'm breaking down the top 10 reasons this happens, and one of them could save you from a breakdown on the highway. That light on your dash isn't just a random warning. It's your car's way of saying something's off with the engine or emission system. Today, we're going through the most common culprits behind it, from easy fixes you can handle yourself to issues that need a mechanic's touch. Knowing these can help you avoid bigger problems down the road, like failed emissions tests or even engine damage. We'll hit each one step by step, so by the end, you'll know exactly what to check next time it pops on. Starting with number 10, problems with your battery or charging system. Your car's battery powers everything electrical, including the sensors that monitor the engine. If the battery's dying or the alternator isn't charging it right, the voltage drops too low and that triggers the check engine light. This happens a lot in older cars or if you've left the lights on overnight. Symptoms include dim headlights, a clicking sound when you try to start the car, or the battery warning light coming on too. To check this, use a multimeter to test the battery voltage. It should be around 12.6 volts when the engine's off and jump to 13.7 to 14.7 volts when it's running. If it's low, the fix could be as simple as replacing the battery, which costs about $100 to $200, or the alternator, which runs $300 to $500 including labor. Don't drive too long with this issue because it can leave you stranded with a dead engine. I've seen people ignore it and end up paying for a tow truck on top of the repair. The charging system includes belts and wires too, so if there's corrosion on the terminals, clean them with baking soda and water first before jumping to conclusions. That's a free fix that works half the time. But if the light stays on after that, get it scanned at an auto parts store, they do it for free, and pull the trouble code that points right to the problem. Number 9, vacuum leaks in the engine. Vacuum lines are those rubber hoses that help control airflow and fuel mixture in the engine. Over time, they crack, dry out from heat, or get knocked loose during maintenance. When that happens, extra air sneaks in where it shouldn't, messing up the air-fuel ratio, and the computer detects it as a lean condition, turning on the light. You might notice the engine idling rough, like it's shaking at stoplights, or hear a hissing sound under the hood. Acceleration could feel sluggish too, and gas mileage drops because the engine works harder. To find a leak, start by listening for that hiss with the engine running, or spray carb cleaner around the hoses. If the idle smooths out when you hit a spot, that's your leak. Fixing it usually means replacing the bad hose, which is cheap, like $10 to $50 for parts, but if it's buried deep in the engine bay, labor adds up to $100 or more. In some cars, like older Fords or Chevys, the intake manifold gasket can leak too, and that's a bigger job, costing $200 to $400. Prevent this by checking hoses during oil changes. Squeeze them to feel for cracks. I fixed this on my own car once by just tightening a clamp and the light went off after a drive cycle, but if you ignore it, it leads to poor performance and even damages other parts like the catalytic converter over time. Moving to number 8, issues with the EGR valve. EGR stands for exhaust gas recirculation, and this valve sends some exhaust back into the engine to cool combustion and cut emissions. If it sticks open or closed from carbon buildup, the engine runs too hot or too rich, triggering the light with codes like P0401. Your symptoms show up as rough idling, stalling at low speeds, or a pinging noise during acceleration. This is common in high-mileage vehicles, especially diesels or trucks that haul loads. To diagnose, you can tap the valve lightly with a hammer while the engine's running. If the idle changes, it's stuck. Cleaning it with throttle body cleaner often works for $20, but if it's bad, replacement per injector is $50 to $150, and labor for all can hit $500 or more since they're under the intake. In direct injection engines, like in modern Volkswagens or Audis, they're pricier. Prevent by using top-tier gas and changing fuel filters on schedule. I've added an injector cleaner to my tank every few months and it keeps things smooth. Ignoring this leads to carbon buildup in cylinders, which means expensive headwork later. Number 6, problems with the thermostat. This little valve controls coolant flow to keep the engine at the right temperature. If it sticks closed, the engine overheats. If open, it runs too cool, both triggering the light because emissions suffer. Codes like P0128 means it's not reaching temp fast enough. Symptoms include the temperature gauge staying low, poor heater performance in winter, or overheating in traffic. Common in cars over 5 years old, especially if coolant wasn't flushed. Testing is easy. Feel the radiator hoses after warm-up. Both should be hot if it's working. Replacement is straightforward, costing $50 to $150 including coolant, and you can do it yourself with basic tools. In some vehicles like Subarus, it's buried so shop time adds up. I once had a stuck thermostat on a road trip and the light came on right before the gauge spiked. Caught it just in time. Flush coolant every 30,000 miles to avoid this. Running too cool wastes gas and wears the engine faster.
Number 5, malfunctioning mass airflow sensor, or MAF. This sensor measures incoming air to tell the computer how much fuel to add. Dirt, oil from cheap air filters, or failure over time makes it read wrong, causing the light with codes like P0101. The car might surge at idle, stall when stopping, or lack power on the freeway. This is big in turbo cars or those with aftermarket intakes. Clean it with MAF-specific spray for $10. Unplug, spray, let dry. If that doesn't work, a new one costs $100 to $300. Easy swap, just a few screws. In my experience with a dirty MAF, cleaning fixed rough running instantly. Use oiled filters sparingly to prevent contamination. If ignored, it throws off the whole fuel system, leading to other failures. Number 4. Bad spark plugs or ignition coils. Spark plugs ignite the fuel air mix and coils provide the high voltage. Worn plugs gap wrong or coils crack, causing misfires in the light with codes like P0300. Feel it as shaking at idle, poor acceleration, or backfiring. Change plugs every 60 to 100,000 miles depending on type. Iridium lasts longer. Plugs cost $5 to $20 each. Coils $50 to $100 per cylinder. Labor for a V6 could be $300 total. In wet climates, coils fail for moisture. I swapped plugs on an old Civic and the light vanished. Gap them right with a feeler gauge. Misfires damage the cat converter if not fixed quick. Number 3. Failing catalytic converter. This cleans exhaust gases, but it clogs from misfires or oil burning, triggering the light with P0420. Symptoms: rotten heg smell, loss of power, rattling noise. Replacement costs $500 to $2,000 due to precious metals inside. Common in cars over 150,000 miles. Scan for efficiency codes. Prevent by fixing upstream issues fast. A buddy replaced his cat after ignoring misfires, and it was pricey. Number 2. Faulty oxygen sensor. These monitor exhaust oxygen to adjust fuel. They failed from age or contamination, causing rich or lean conditions and the light with P0130 codes. Poor mileage, black smoke, rough idle. Upstream sensors cost $50 to $200, easy to swap with a wrench. Change every 100,000 miles. Fixed one on my truck, mileage jumped 3 mpg. And the number 1 reason, loose or faulty gas cap. It seals the fuel system for emissions. If loose, vapor leaks trigger the light with P0440. Tighten or replace for $10. Check the rubber seal. Happens after filling up. Reset the light by driving after fix. So those are the 10, from simple caps to complex converters. Get a code reader or a free scan to pinpoint. Regular maintenance keeps the light off. Hit that subscribe button if this video helps you.